Hi there. You're my 10 o'clock, correct? And you're here for the Chakra Healing Simulation? Perfect. Have you ever done any of our other simulations? No? Okay. So what'll happen is I'm just going to take some information. This is just the diagnostic. So I'll take your personal information and then I will go into some of the questions around some of the different chakra areas for you. So we can kind of get a sense of what you might need more attention with and that type of thing. Then you'll go into just a quick cranial nerve exam where they'll check your facilities and just make sure that the simulation will kind of combat anything that might be going on. Just make sure everything's functioning properly for you. And after that, you will just go into the simulation. We'll set you up in one of our suites and you'll just kind of relax and then the simulation will begin. And it's kind of like a dream, but with a little bit more realism. So, yes, someone will walk through what you can expect from the actual simulation itself. Okay, so first just take some personal information. I don't believe they took it at the door, correct? Okay, so if I could have your full name, middle two, please. Okay. And your age. Okay. Your date of birth. And your social security number. Okay. Your address. And what's the zip code? Okay. Your cell phone number? And your first emergency contact. Yeah, just their name first. Okay. And now their phone number? And what is their relationship to you? Okay. And the name of your second emergency contact. And their phone number? Okay. And what is their relationship to you? Okay. Next, I'd like your personal doctor's name and phone number. We do have plenty of doctors on site if anything does happen. It's very uncommon, but we do have doctors and therapists as well on staff. But it would be great if I could have your own doctor's information as well. And phone number. Cool. Okay. Now that's all the personal information I need. So now I'm just going to go into the second part of the diagnostic, which is your familiarity with different chakras and healing types of things like that. It'll just give us kind of an idea of how much explanations that we need to do for different things. If you're very familiar with chakras, obviously things would be a little bit, we wouldn't need to go into it as much without, talking down to you. But if you're not familiar at all, a little extra information and extra explanation could be really helpful. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. So how familiar are you on a scale of 1 to 5 for all of these, 5 being the most familiar? and one being the least familiar. How familiar are you with meditative spiritual healing practices in general? Okay. And how familiar are you with the overarching concept of chakras? Okay. Do you practice any meditation at home? Any type? Yeah. Okay, perfect. How familiar are you with the healing properties of various crystals and rocks, minerals? Not in terms of being able to like recite them or memorize them or anything, just the kind of like ideas around what they're supposed to generally help with. Okay. And how familiar are you with each chakra in particular? Are there any that you're more familiar with than others? Are there any that are more foreign? For instance, a lot of people, if they've started to get into chakras, for me especially, from my own experience, I got stuck at the root chakra almost every time I tried to go through them. Just felt like I couldn't get past the first one. So I'm relatively familiar with the root chakra, but not as much as the higher up ones, if that makes sense. So if there's any that you've maybe heard more about. Oh yes, the root, or the third eye. The root and the third eye. Okay. And are there any that, I guess you wouldn't know what you don't know, but are there any that you've heard of that just seem a little... Oh, yes, the crown is a popular one. That's the kind of final one. I think it's a little bit difficult to achieve for a lot of people, so that definitely makes sense. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, definitely the throat chakra. Okay. Next, I'm going to go through the chakra wellness check. And these questions might seem repetitive at times. They might seem vague at times. Just do your best to let me know if it relates to you completely, somewhat, or not at all. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, let me know how closely you agree. You regularly feel sad or sleepy. You regularly feel restless or find it hard to fall asleep. You regularly experience a lack of focus or your thoughts feel fuzzy. You have unhealthy eating habits. This can either mean eating too much or eating too little, or just eating things that aren't good. You experience obsessive tendencies or codependence. This one is kind of hard to self-diagnose, but if you can have any sort of inklings. Okay. You experience swollen or tender feet, legs, or lower back. Okay. You find yourself being resentful or quick to anger. Okay. You do not fight with your friends, partner, parents, etc. Everything is perfect with your relationships all the time. You fight with people, friends, partners, parents, same thing, but you get over it eventually. You don't talk about each other behind your backs, and you don't fight all the time. You fight about the smallest things, and it feels like there's always some kind of negative tension between you. You always have a bunch of good ideas. Your creativity is bursting at the seams. You often find yourself up, staying up late, or possessed by racing thoughts, brainstorming and planning. Being creative is exciting and playful. You do not feel pressured to create or make things perfect all the time. If you have any creative ideas at all, they're quickly blocked by self-doubt. You do not feel any feelings of need or craving. Yes, definitely. This could be for food, alcohol, sex, a good book, even if it's really just kind of a feeling of need that's kind of uncontrollable. Yeah. Okay. You often find yourself abstaining from sex, good but maybe unhealthy food, alcohol, and other pleasures that you may deem guilty, such as TV binges, video games, etc. You have a satisfying and shame-free relationship with pleasure. You can have sex, consume alcohol, binge that new TV series, etc. without feeling any embarrassment. You feel unable to exercise self-control when it comes to the aforementioned pleasures. You have an insatiable appetite for sex and junk food, regularly consume alcohol in excess, and give in to binging just not one TV show, but maybe spend entire days on the couch. Any of the above. Okay. Oops. You often feel confident, productive, motivated, etc. You feel comfortable talking to other people without talking down to them or becoming shy yourself. Okay. You feel small and powerless with a general lack of ambition and inspiration. Okay. You are able to make plans, but you find it difficult to follow through. You find yourself uncomfortable when you don't have control. Okay. You feel like you're better than others. And I'd also like to just kind of point out that there's absolutely no judgment in this room. You've been doing great so far, but I did just want to let you know that I've heard all types of responses, and I've even had all types of responses myself. So just feel free to say whatever is true for you. Yeah, you don't have to worry about me thinking badly of you or anything like that. Okay. You find it hard to be compassionate when someone around you is complaining. Okay. You can forgive easily and communicate well. You can love with no expectation of it being returned. That is hard to do. You are easily jealous and stingy. You You often find yourself playing the victim or the martyr to win sympathy, either from others or even yourself. You often feel burdened by the heartache from the past. Insecurities, anger, sadness, and mistrust as a result of such heartbreak or abuse are common feelings for you. Okay. You feel confident about the path that you are on, whether this is your trade, your career, hobby, art, etc. You can speak honestly about what you do without fear or shame. You feel shy about sharing your interests or life path. You feel like your life, or whatever you thought your life was going to be originally, isn't fulfilling enough. Think changing majors in college. You communicate excessively and find yourself lacking a filter. Okay. You regularly talk over others, find yourself gossiping, name-calling, and telling secrets, others or your own. Okay. You are in tune with your energies and can make decisions easily. You feel comfortable receiving messages from your subconscious. Yes, this can be thoughts that just kind of pop up, or it can be dreams, or just a feeling, intuition, a vibe, that type of thing. Okay. You feel distrustful of your inner voice, and you rarely remember your dreams at all. Your waking memories are dull and fuzzy. You rely on a lot of logic and cynicism when making decisions. You have difficulty concentrating and remaining in reality. Your mind is often taken over by fantasies or paranoia. Okay. You experience hallucinations. Okay. Like I said, we've heard a lot of different answers for all of these questions. You feel a strong connection to something bigger than yourself. Your confidence and drive allows you to overcome all mental obstacles to do something for the greater good. Yeah. No problem at all. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been moving kind of through the different chakras with my questions. With your familiarity, I'm not sure that it would have been that noticeable, but we are in the crown chakra now, so it is, like I said, a little more difficult to achieve. You feel isolated, lonely, and hopeless. You are constantly trying to find the meaning of life. When you think of the bigger picture, it seems so overwhelming that it's much more realistic to do nothing rather than to take a tiny step in the right direction. Okay. You feel a draw to physical materials and money above all else, the idea of having things is much more appealing than exercising empathy. For instance, I know those two things aren't mutually exclusive, but for instance, you're much more likely to kind of avoid eye contact with maybe homeless people on the road who are asking for money, that type of thing. You'd prefer to keep it all to yourself. It's easier than giving to charities, say. Okay. When it comes to empathy, you find that your inability to feel it can quickly turn into aggression. Yeah, it doesn't have to be in all cases, just if you can't relate to someone, is it easier to get angry for you, or is it easier to listen to what they have to say? I know that it sounds like one is obviously better than the other, but truly, I am not here to judge. Okay. You feel skeptical of spirituality and spiritual healing. No, you'd be surprised. A lot of people sign up for the simulation because they don't really believe in all of it, and they just kind of want to check it out and see what happens, you know? A lot of people are ultra familiar with all of the different chakras and spirituality, spiritual healing techniques, and this is just one more thing that they want to do, so we really have quite a healthy spectrum. Alright, that is the end of my diagnostic questions. So I'll go ahead and give these over to our analysts, and they will go through and determine what chakras, which simulations might need to have what exercises in them, that type of thing. That's why I can't really go through what exactly you'll experience in the simulations. It's different for everyone, but basically you'll have a simulation for each chakra, last about 20 to 30 minutes, and each one will be a different setting, a different mood. Of course, it will definitely represent the color of the chakra. Everything around you will be especially tailored for the purpose to align your chakra to the best of what we can do with the information we've collected from these questions. Yeah, so whether your chakra is blocked or overactive or even healthy and you just kind of need a little bit of a refresh or just a quick, So the activities that you'll be doing in each simulation, the types of sounds you'll hear, the scents that are around, will all have to do with the questions that you answered today. So the next thing that you'll do is you'll go to, one of the technicians will grab you. They'll take you to one of our on-site doctors, and they'll just do a quick cranial nerve check just to make sure everything is functioning, like I said, the way that it should, just to make sure that nothing needs to be altered for the simulation for you in terms of sight. And it's a full sensory experience when you do it. After that, they will take you to one of our suites, and there you can kind of relax, and then the simulations will begin. Okay, well, it was great meeting you, and I see the technician is ready for you, so I think it's time to move on to the next part. It was great to meet you. Enjoy the simulation.